In this video, we'll be unboxing and setting up our Xbox Series X. Now, if you would like to pick one of these up, we'll be leaving an affiliate link in the description, meaning if you click make a purchase, we'll receive a small commission at no extra charge to you. This guy can run a 4K, 120 frames per second, has a 1 terabyte SSD drive, and it does have a disk drive as well. That was important for me as I wanted to be able to play some of my old Xbox games via the backwards compatibility feature that is offered. The biggest reason I picked this up was because of the sheer power that this Xbox can put out. On the side of the box here, it does go more in depth into all of the specs and technical details of what this machine can actually do, and it is quite impressive. So with that said, let's go ahead and open this up. So we do have one tab on the side here that we will rip off, and once we have that guy off, then we're going to go ahead and take our console, flip it around, take the tab off on the other end of the box. And then once those two side ones are off, we just have two left, which are located on the very bottom of the box. And I gotta say, when taking these tabs off, it is a very satisfying sound and feeling, especially with the excitement of knowing what is inside of here. With all the tabs removed, we are now ready to pop open the box and get a look at our Series X. And there it is. Now, from my perspective, when I was opening it, it almost looked like the Xbox was jumping out just based on the angle that they have it pointing towards you. From the camera perspective, you can't really see that, but trust me, it did feel like that. Okay, so we do see that it is wrapped in a nice foam covering, which I appreciate, and we'll go ahead and rip it open so we can actually get to the console itself. Now when I opened this, I accidentally did put it upside down, as that is the base that we're looking at right there. So let's go ahead, we will flip it on its side to take it off. And there we have it, our first look at the Xbox Series X. One thing that I did note was that this thing is rather beefy. Just the console itself comes in weighing at 9.8 pounds. But here we see, okay, it's cool. They do have a little USB port on the side. That little button is going to be to connect controllers. Looking at the top, this is going to be where our fans are. We can actually see the fans. And then on the back, we have a bunch of hardware that we can look at. So a couple USB ports, which is greatly appreciated. I'll be using that for some external hard drives to store games on. And then we have two of those ports. We also have an Ethernet port, which is going to be awesome for fast internet connection. We do have space for an additional storage compartment for an SSD drive, a spot for the power cord to go into, and then finally an HDMI out for our HDMI cable. Okay, looking more into the box, opening up this top flap, we do see our two cables that we need. First of those being the HDMI cord. This is going to connect from our Xbox to the TV, which is going to transmit all of the data so we get that crisp gameplay. And then next is going to be our power cord. Simple enough, plugs in and it powers the machine. Additionally, we do have a brand new Xbox controller here. I was very happy to see that, as I did kind of forget that one is included, which is great. It feels awesome. The feeling of a brand new controller is unmatched. Super crisp. All the buttons are very, very responsive. I'm looking forward to getting to use that. And then we have a pair of fresh AA batteries. And the last few things in the box are going to be the product and regulation guide. And then additionally, we do have one little piece of paper on the very bottom here. Not this, that's just a little piece of cardboard. This guy right here, this little flyer, is going to tell us how to set up our Xbox in 3 easy steps. And we will also show you how to do that as well in this video. Now, a quick thing to note, the Xbox can stand up vertical, as this is the base plate right here that it can stand on, and it can also be horizontal, as it does have 4 little feet on the side, which you can lay the Xbox down depending on what best fits for your setup. For our setup here, we don't have a ton of room, so we're going to have to stick it behind the TV, and we're going to do it in the vertical position so it takes up less space. So we have our spot right here. We will just plop it down, and then for the sake of the video, we'll turn it around so we can show you exactly what we are doing here. Starting off with the power cord, we're going to go ahead and insert that into the very bottom slot, and then we will take that other end of the cord and plug it into an outlet that is nearby. The next thing that we're going to do is take our HDMI cord and plug it into the Xbox. We're going to make sure this is going into the HDMI out port, as that is going to be where the signal is going out from the Xbox to the television. Once we have that side hooked up, we'll take our other side of the HDMI cord and we will plug it into our TV. Now ours, we have HDMI 1 free, so that is the exact port that we're going to be plugging into. We do need to keep in mind that HDMI 1 is going to be the input that the TV needs for the Xbox feed to go through. And then last thing we're going to do back here is plug in our Ethernet cable just so we have super fast internet when we're ready to go. And if you are not able to plug an Ethernet cable into your Xbox, no worries, because it is just a simple fix to connect the Wi-Fi. Okay, with that all done, last thing we need to do is get our controller ready, and basically all that means is popping open this back battery compartment and loading it with the batteries. We have our two AA batteries, and thankfully they do indicate on these little metal tabs if it is positive or negative. So it makes it super simple. Put the negative side in with the negative, the positive with the positive, and then last thing we gotta do is just take that little cover and replace it. So it's just gonna slide into place like so, and now our controller is ready to rock. Okay, with the Xbox plugged in, connected to the TV, we will power on our Xbox by holding down this center button on the controller. You could also press the button on the console. Then we need to turn on our TV and locate HDMI 1, and we see the Xbox is booting right up, just like it should. Now the Xbox is going to take a little bit of time to load before it gets us to a setup screen. Now this is going to tell us to set up with the Xbox app. This is going to be one of the easiest ways to do it, as we can log into our Microsoft account via this app, which in theory should streamline the process of setting up the console. So we have our phone with the Xbox app loaded. We're going to click in the top right corner and click Add a Console. Now under the Add a Console section, it's going to give two different options. It's going to say add a new console or an existing console. This is brand new, so we're going to click on that one. Then it's going to ask us to input the code that we see on the television. However, when we tried this after doing the code, we figured out that it was not working correctly. Something was going wrong. So we decided to skip this step entirely here. If you press the start button on your controller, it will allow you to skip and set it up manually. So then we select English. We use the United States version English. We are connected to the network thanks to the Ethernet. This is also where you would do the Wi-Fi if you needed to set that up. And then with all of that said, the Xbox is ready to update. And now the rest of the setup, we were able to get through the Xbox app. We typed in the code and it worked, and then it scanned that QR code insanely fast, and then it allows us to choose our preferences for our Xbox. So now these next couple of steps are just going to be preferences that you want your Xbox to do when it is running. So like automatic updates, for example, or like sign-in security preferences. Depending on your situation, you can change these to whatever you would like. And so after navigating through this, there are a couple different steps and questions that we go through. So also like changing this to the home Xbox. We're not going to do that on this particular one. Then we'll go ahead, click the next button to navigate to the next question. And then another thing, just like adding a console name, this isn't a huge thing. It's just going to show up on your app as to what name it should be. This is really cool, is it allows you to preload streaming services that you have. So you get to just select all the ones that you want preloaded on the Xbox. We're deselecting the ones that we do not have, but keeping the ones that we do. One of the final questions that is part of the setup process is asking if you want to copy settings from your previous Xboxes to transfer over to this one. So since we have had quite a few, we will copy over the latest settings from our Xbox. Last question on here is if the console is going to be used by kids or not. That's just for parental controls. With all of that said and done, after the console finishes updating, then it's going to reboot, and then it is almost ready to go. These last few questions are going to be asking if you would like to share data. You can go ahead and read into that, see if that is something that you would like to do. Once that is all done, then the Xbox will try and find the best settings for the visual display, basically for your TV. So ours, it found that we are running at 4K, and yes, we do want to keep that display at 4K. And now we are finally done. We are ready to jump into the action. And there you have it. If you found this video helpful, it would mean a lot if you could hit that like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.